Welcome to South TV. This is Monica Kunsekwe Kuta, your host. Today I have got Yoleen Naidoo, and we are going to talk about family violence. Yoleen is passionate about women empowerment, and we realize that you cannot just empower women because women have got so many things, so many facets that they have. They take part in the family. They've got their own lives as women and responsibilities. And so we want to hear what her views are. Yoleen, welcome. Can you introduce yourself to your audience?
Thank you. Happy to be here. And today, yes, we will be talking about family violence. I am in Canada right now as Miss Canada World Universal Elite finalist. And I feel family empowerment is so important. Women empowerment is so important. Women are always attached to a family. And family is the core of our community. It is the foundation in our community. And when you really look at it in a family, women are the heart of the home. She is the one who's lead for the children, bringing up the next generation. And I feel right now our families are under attack. And we need to empower each person in the family. And I want to do my part helping to empower women because she plays such a vital role.
Thank you. You mentioned that you feel that families are under attack. Can you talk a little bit, explain to us what family violence is? Because I believe this is what you are talking about.
Yes. So family violence is when individuals in the family disrespect for each other. And there's a crisis also in the family. And I find when a family attack, it's usually when someone feels less empowered to overcome a problem. And in a lot of cases, they lash out. And in some cases, in violence, some cases, by saying mean words. And that is what I mean that families under attack is they need to find solutions to help empower the family to overcome small obstacles in the family. And if you're not able to overcome little obstacles or then you have a crisis in the family, and it does the other because then you in your environment and you start attacking each other because those people to you. So you start attacking each other, and that is why I feel, we need to empower women on how to solve these problems.
Yes, you talked about dealing with small problems. If those are not dealt with, things will escalate and you end up with bigger problems.
Mm-hmm.
Those will be even more difficult to resolve.
Mm-hmm.
So in a family setting, what type of abuse do women go through?
Women go through abuse. Some women go through abuse from husbands. Some women go through abuse from in-laws. And some people go through abuse, which is very less spoken, their children. A lot of women in their families get abused by their children. It's something that we never ever talk about. And at the end of the day, what happens is women will lose confidence in themselves, and they could start, talking negative about themselves because they don't have that support system. So abuse can be played in a family setting for women.
You have already mentioned why the woman is so important in the family. So, how do you think family violence can be stopped so that this important person is not continuously violated?
I think first we need to find the cause of the problem. Because sometimes it's not just an individual; it's an actual problem in the family. It could be a money crisis, be a shelter crisis, or it could be clothing crisis. So with this actual crisis, and maybe the dad would feel responsible that he cannot provide for his family. He doesn't know how to ask for help, shout, not that he wants to lash out, but just because he is frustrated and he doesn't know how to solve the problem. So I think the most important thing is we need to heal the family by finding out what the problem is in the family. We can move towards healing the family. And every single person in the family plays an important role and a vital role. And the families work together as a unit. So when someone's feeling weak, we need to find out what's hurting them. We need to go for help, because in families, what's happening is the problems are escalating and people are afraid to ask for help. And I think that's what we need to do is we need to find out what's the crisis. We need to find out who's it affecting, and we need to bring in help to help solve the problem. And it's to do it in the early stages because it's early to eliminate it, compared to when you leave it over years, you're not just dealing with the root of the problem, then you're dealing with other issues involved that creates around the problem. So it's really important when a problem happens to not to feel ashamed to ask for help.
It's very important because you find that at least most women ask for help, but men don't. When we know, and yet we know that the violence affects everybody in the family. It affects men, it affects children, and sometimes it will be the parents both attacking the children, ganging up on the children. And so, whoever in the family is facing this attack should be able to know where to find help and seek help. So there are
And I
certain
think,
issues
Monica,
that, Mhm.
sorry.
Go
No, and I
ahead.
think also, Monica, is women love family. Like from the time they born, they born to nurture, to be there for people, to help people, and they love the family environment. So that is why it's so hard for a woman to leave a violent family situation and to leave a husband and to leave the kids. She still wants to find a way to keep her family intact as children. And I think what happens is the link that's missing is that they need to not be afraid to ask for help.
Yes, that is important. But then they face challenges like addictions, self control or lack of it, or extramarital affairs, which cause issues and violence. Can you say a bit more about how that affects family life?
Yes, addictions, extramarital affairs, violence. It does affect life because it actually affects our mental health, and it doesn't just affect one person's mental health. It affects everyone in that environment, their mental health. So yes, these do play a vital role in the crisis in the family, but in 100% of the cases, that's not the root of the problem. And if you actually speak to people who have been to prison, where to talk about the inner self, you'll actually find out that a lot of people act out in ways because they're unable to solve a problem that happened when they were young. So maybe they had a traumatic childhood. Maybe they had a traumatic child experience that they never healed from, and it's carrying on in their life, and they kind of built a wall. So it definitely stems down to something deeper in their life, and it usually is because if something happened earlier on in their life and never got healing for it, then they will notice as they become adults, they lack the skills to handle problems. They lack the skills to find solutions to their problems. And we want them to be stronger, but I think also is like things that happened years ago that they feel embarrassed to talk about. And I think the most important thing is that people need to know that it's okay to talk to someone to get help, and they should not feel embarrassed about it.
Absolutely. They can actually seek professional help where whatever they share there'll be confidentiality. Nobody will share about their experiences or their challenges with anybody.
And in a lot of settings, we are attached to our religious organizations. And I know, like, being a Christian in our churches, we have this available to us where we have family support, crisis support. But the only way and the only link and the only bridge to get that help is to ask for help. And if you don't want to just go, like, I know some people say, I don't want to go to a psychologist, I don't want to go and speak my problems out. But if you don't find someone elder or a senior that could help you, don't be afraid to go to church or to a religious setting. And yes, there are amazing counselors out there that can help you. And I always find if there's a crisis in the family, it is really, really important to go for individual help as well. So you as a person can find out why are you not functioning as a independent, strong person. What is lacking? What skills are lacking? And it's never too late to find out. It's never too late to fix the problem. And it's never too late to learn new skills.
Yes, I like the part where you said look for your own individual help so that you fix yourself, you get fixed. That would help you to contribute
Yes.
productively to the family setting. What advice would
I
you
so
give to
agree
women?
with that. Um,
Mhm. What advice would you give to women who are caught up in an environment of violence?
the very the woman needs to go to a place of safety. And the reason why she needs to go to a place of safety is because she needs to be in a clean environment where she could think rationally. If there's children involved, like, if you look at in the courts, both parents are responsible for the well-being of the child. So if there's violence in the family, it's very important for the one parent of violence to take the child out of the place of violence. Because remember, violence plays an important role in little kids as well, because it could affect them down the line. So we need to also make sure that you go to a place of safety. Uh, or if you cannot go to a place of safety, and if it's really urgent, call the police. call someone for help, because you got to get rid of the person who's causing the violence in the family moment. And if you cannot help them, you got to call for help. I also think it's very important, if you are in a family violence setting, is to have, for the woman to have a coach. Because even if she goes back into that environment, at least she has a coach to help her overcome the situation, and she has someone that she can speak to. So what happens is, you stuff like, when there's violence, call the police. The police comes in there and they stop what's happening, stop the violence, but it doesn't heal what's happening. So it's very, very important for women to have a coach to empower them, help them through the stage. Because in a family setting of violence, if the woman doesn't want to leave and she feels that she can save her family, save her marriage, she needs to have a coach to work her through it, because there's steps to go through. And yes, she's going to have moments where it's not going to be that good at home. But at the same time, it's also really important to know that adults need to go for counseling. Could be the husband, could be the wife. Doesn't matter where the violence is coming from. It's important for them to be adults and to see that there's a problem and to go for help. Because the woman can have the coach, but if the man is the one causing the violence all the time, you can't just have a coach over there, because the coach is just going to help you, mentally go through the situation, get rid of the situation in your head, but it's not fixing the problem. So it's really important in a family of violence, where the person who's actually causing the violence says, I need help. Then you can heal your family.
That is true. So, have you ever experienced violence?
Yes, I have. I've been in a relationship, but my whole life I've ever been, where the person seemed so sweet and happy and loving and funny, but when we used to be alone, he used to turn into someone else, and he I would see violence, uh the violent side of him. I was in a relationship, and I'm sure a lot of people meet someone of the opposite sex when you're dating and or getting married, that is violent. And but I'm so proud to say the good support system, which is my family. And I've also learned over the years to I know the worth of myself. I know who I am, and I know that I'm valuable. And I also know how I should be treated. So when that happened to me, I said, no, I cannot be in this. And I walked away. So I just want to tell women, it's okay to walk away when you are not feeling safe in a relationship. You need to walk away, because at the end of the day, your well-being is really important. You have to take care of yourself. You have to make sure that you protected. You have to make sure that you empowered. You have to make sure that you are healthy. Because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else is going to take care of yourself.
Yes, that's important because if the woman has taken care of herself, she's also able to take care of the kids. But what advice then would you give to teenagers?
Teenagers, to not think that if they're in a relationship with a violent person, that it will get better when you are married. It actually gets worse. And from experience, from all the stats of women out there who've been in a relationship of violence, in marriage, it went up 10 times worse. So it does not get better. If you cannot fix the problem before marriage, you got to leave the relationship. You got to have faith in yourself. You got to value yourself. you got to let the person know. And if they treat you well, then you got to let go and let live. Like, you got to walk away because you have to value yourself. And if you stay in a violent relationship, you are showing that person that it's okay to treat you anyhow. And I know in a lot of situations that teenagers might think that, they might be under peer pressure. A lot of reasons they might need a partner. But I want to say all the life, there's so much to live, and you have a long life ahead of you. So think of your safety, think of your mental health, think of your value, think of where you want to go in life, and make sure that the people that surround you are people that want to empower you in life and want you to reach your dream. So don't become that person to say, oh, I can help solve his problem. No. Oh, I can help solve her problem if she's the problem in the relationship. No. You gotta set your standards in life and value yourself. I think that's the most important thing for teenagers is value yourself and know that you that more is that you have way more in your life, way more in your life. So don't settle for less.
Yes, I think it's important that teenagers start getting these messages because in that during that time they're so fascinated and they have this infatuation which clouds their thinking. And so they think, oh, because the emotions are towards this person are so intense, they think it's going to be like that even when they get married. And so they allow somebody to abuse them. My next question to you is, many are afraid of being bullied or laughed at when they leave a bad relationship. What is your advice?
And that is so true when it comes to women. A lot of women do stay in relationships because they're scared what society will think of them. Scared, will they be in society? They are scared or of the unknown. So I want them to know is if somebody tells you or bullies you to stay into a relationship or laughs at you if you're leaving a relationship, remember something. A person who bullies you is a person who's trying to control you. Your real friends and your real family and your real support system, I want to be in this relationship. You know, they will understand that your well-being and your safety is more important. But if you find people pushing you and wanting you to stay in that marriage and to work it out, even though they know your crisis and they're not helping you and like physically actually coming into that environment and living with you, then you got to make the choice and say, at the end of the day, it's my mental health that's important. It is my own value that I am important. So I have to protect myself, even if people do not support me. I have to protect myself because you'll find out when you take that first step, there'll be tons of people waiting to support you, people that you never knew are waiting there to support you. So always don't make decisions in your life. Make the right decision for you because at the end of the day, you were born with a purpose, you were born with the reason, and don't let anything slow you down in life. Don't let anybody bully you in life, and do not let anybody hurt you in life. Especially with violence. Family violence is not easy thing to handle. And I know it's such a big problem, especially in the city we are in. To the police chief the last time, he actually said, you know, he's done gun violence, he's on drugs, and like kind of the big issues that we think that's important in society. He says now he wants to step in to stop the stats of the violence that's coming from families. He wants to step in and he wants to help. So he actually realizes it's a problem in our city, and I think we all need to support each other on that. So if there's violence, we're not saying divorce the person. We're not saying run away. What we're saying is go to a place of safety, clear your mind, make a right choice. But if you do decide to go back into the family, make sure it's a safe environment and make sure it's good for your mental health.
It's actually something that has risen in many across different communities. Violence during the family violence during the pandemic has gone through the roof, and so it is important that each person thinks about their mental well-being, their psychological well-being, as well as their physical, because if somebody hurts you and you end up disabled, it's not going to help you or the family or the kids. It is important that people take heed and do their best to find a place of safety, like Yoleen is saying. So the city that she's talking about the city of Edmonton in Alberta, Canada. And so that city is not isolated. Violence is happening everywhere throughout the world because people have been forced to spend time confined in a house, which didn't happen before. People used to go to work. When they come back, they're tired, they eat and go to sleep. But now, people are sitting on top of each other day in, day out. And that is making life very difficult. And those who struggled to communicate before the pandemic, it's even worse because they don't know how to relate to each other, and that's really making life difficult for them. And finally, what does it
That's so
mean?
true, Monica. So true.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's so true. I think what actually is in life has moved to such a race track that we personally have forgotten how to be a family, because we're out of the house for 7, we come home after 7. Basically, like very few moments we get to spend with the family, and it's usually eating or sleeping. So during the pandemic, everybody was together and they realized that they don't know each other because they are so used to being out of the house, and the communication has lacked as well. So yeah, although there's the violence and during this time, but people are acknowledging that they need to give more time to their families. So that was a good part of the pandemic, is showing that bring families back, let's learn to reconnect, and let's learn to help, to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. And I think it has also given an opportunity to some families to actually build those relationships and make them stronger. So there's some good that has come out of it. Not everything has been bad. And finally, what does it mean to be an empowered woman in a family environment?
It means to feel secured, to feel protected, to feel healthy, to feel free, and to feel loved. But I think most important is it's to be feel sorry. I was like, it is to have that feeling of security. Security is the most important thing. Because once you have these, then your confidence builds. And once your confidence builds, then you do start feeling empowered. It's the first step to feel.
Yes, it is important. It is important. Thank you so much, Yoleen, for your time and also for sharing with us some tips and advices to help women who are feeling trapped, women who are feeling insecure, women who are feeling that their life is in danger. They need to go out there and seek help. They need to find ways to seek help so that everybody can be in a healthy family setting. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Monica. Appreciate being here and